Guys, we are live now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the eighth video in our interview series with Newton School. A very warm welcome to all of you for joining us on this exciting journey. I'm your host, Anjali Singh, and today we have an enriching Power BI live mock interview for cracking top companies like Swiggy and more lined up for you. But before that, share the live with all your fellow data enthusiasts and friends because we don't want anyone to miss out on this exciting session. We'll be starting in just 2 minutes. But before that, if you're an aspiring business analyst, a data enthusiast, currently working but considering a switch, or simply someone looking up for a role in data science, you're in the right place. Today, we have a super special live mock interview dedicated to all the data enthusiasts out there. And guess who's joining us for this session? The brilliant Bhavna, analytics manager at Swiggy, ex Walmart, and a proud IIT Kharagpur alumni, who will provide feedback that can be a game changer for anyone looking up to step into this field, along with tips, tricks, and necessary feedbacks and scenarios. Along with her is our brilliant interviewee, Mahira, who's one of our top learners from Newton School. So, without further ado, welcome Bhavna and welcome Mahira. Let's start with the interview right away. Over to you, Bhavna.
Hey, thanks a lot, Anjali, for such an amazing introduction. So, hi guys. So today it's a mock interview on Power BI, and I'll be sharing a couple of tips and feedback after the interview, and maybe answer a few questions if you guys have. So, to give a brief about me, I'm Bhavna, and I'm working as a analytics manager with Swiggy, and I also worked with Walmart, Ola, and a few more companies in my past. So I have around 7 years of experience completely into analytics, and have worked with different aspects of analytics like product, category, business, and operations and all. So today we have Mahira, with whom I'm conducting this mock interview on Power BI, and there are a couple of descriptive questions as well as scenario-based questions which she'll be solving along with us. So yeah, stay tuned. This is for all these aspiring analysts over there who wants to get into this career or change your career, like Anjali said. So yeah, let's start with the interview. So over to you, Mahira. Maybe you can just give us a few brief about what you're doing and where are you from, etc.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Bhavna. Hi, guys. I'm Alamelu J. Mahira. I'm from Kerala, and I'm currently working as a data analyst in a startup called Strategy Bullion. And I'm here to attend the interview for Power BI. That's it about me.
Yeah. So this mock interview will be, like I said, it's a couple of descriptive questions as well as a couple of scenario-based data, which will be working with some data set. So this consists of different kind of questions like basic, intermediate, and then advanced, and then we'll get into building some um, overall dashboard and some charts and graphs and what all aspects do you have we have in Power BI, etc. So Mahira, can you give us a brief about what exactly is Power BI and how do we use it in with data, real life data, etc.?
So Power BI is a business intelligence tool that we use to visualize and share insights about data. Uh, and it is used to, like I said, to visualize and share insights about a particular data sets that we have to summarize the data basically.
Okay. um, yeah, so like you said, Power BI, it's a visualization tool wherein we use data to create charts and graphs and make life easy for business. So yeah, thank you, Mahira. So let's go to another question. So how do you create a basic bar chart in Power BI?
We go to the visualizations pane in the Power BI desktop, and we'll select the line chart, I mean bar chart icon, and we'll insert the values or the parameters that we want into the x and y axis.
Okay, perfect. So you were just telling about Power BI desktop. So can you tell me the difference between the desktop version versus the web version?
So we have a web version called the Power BI Service. It is a cloud-based web app where we majorly use it for sharing insights, to collaborate majorly, and the desktop is where we create the dashboard.
Okay, perfect. Can you tell me more about what exactly are slicers and also what are filters in Power BI and what's the difference between these?
Okay. So filters are built in uh, built into the Power BI desktop where we can filter the data. Even the for it is majorly for the developers, while Slicer also is a filter, is kind of a filter, but it is for the users to filter the data and pinpoint them to a particular set of the data.
Okay. Okay, these are some of the basic questions I wanted to understand, just to give an overview about what exactly is Power BI and what are the different parts into Power BI. So let's go into much more like advanced questions. Can you explain me more about what exactly is a Power Query and how do we use it in Power BI?
The Power Query editor is built in into the Power BI to transform the data or clean or process the data, and maybe even create calculated fields or extra fields that we want that are not in the initial data that we have, so that it is more processed and in shape for the Power BI visualization.
Okay. Perfect. Can you also tell me if any kind of data modeling is possible in Power BI, and if yes, like how do we do it?
Yeah, data modeling is possible in Power BI. It is done in the model view of the Power BI desktop pane, where we create connections between tables so that it is easier for the users and the developers to apply filters or create connections throughout the data.
Okay, so now that you're talking about connections, can you explain a bit about what exactly is connections and why do you even use connections in Power BI?
Okay, for example, we have a sales data and we have a table called salespersons and sales amount, right, of sales products. And we can connect these two tables using a common field, so that even when we apply filters, for example, if we apply filter according to salesperson, it is automatically connected to the other table as well.
Okay, why do we have to do it inside the Power BI and not create a table which contains all this by default? Like you can do some SQL, query written outside this and then pull the data, right? So what's the use of creating connections in Power BI?
Creating connections in Power BI makes it faster to process. That is one point. And another point is that even if we want to change anything in the connections, we can directly go into the Power BI itself and do it there, then and there itself, instead of going to the data source and making the changes and coming back.
That's perfect. Can you like you spoke about filters, slicers, and all? What exactly is a dynamic filter, and how do you use it for Power BI visualizations?
Dynamic filter is something that we use to make something not static. Like we want to change the filter at times. We want to see some data at this point of time, but maybe in the future we want to see some other alteration of the data with another filter. So that dynamic filtering helps us with that particular thing.
Can you give an example of dynamic filter with the similar data that you were talking about, sales, salesperson, etc.? Like, what could be a dynamic filter in that example?
For example, like I said, if we have a data with two tables, salesperson and product-wise sales, and we want to see the data according to salesperson, like how much sales is a person making, then we'll have to apply a dynamic filter where we can select one or more salespersons at a time to see how much sales these people are making.
Okay. And what would be the static filter there? I mean, the normal one.
Normal one would be where it is not really applied, like it cannot be changed in the visualization but in the filter pane, or in an external slicer maybe.
Okay. Do you have an idea of what DAX is in Power BI, and can you explain what its full form versus like how do you use it?
Uh, DAX is data analysis expressions that we use in Power BI to make complex calculations that are not built into Power BI. Let's say, for example, if we want to calculate the total sales, then we will create a DAX formula to find the total sales of the data.
In the total sales, why can't you just take some? Why do you have to create DAX? So you also have, whenever you put the visualizations onto the Power BI, you directly have min, max, sum, average, etc. Right? So what's the use of creating DAX versus directly pulling in the sum of total sales? Like how exactly does DAX change? I mean, different from just aggregating function.
DAX will be stored there permanently or until we delete it, so that we can maybe create a visualization and visualization where only that particular number is viewed. When it comes to the built-in sum, min, and max filters, there we can change it in the filter panes, but the thing is the users might not be able to change it or understand how we have done the filtering.
Okay. Okay. Can you explain, what's row content versus filter content in DAX?
I'm sorry, you
Row
meant row
context, row
context?
context and filter context in DAX.
Yes, row context is where a particular row is. Can I use an example here?
Yeah,
For
yeah,
example, when we use sum x or average x, a particular formula is run on each row separately, like in an iterative fashion. And in a filter context, it is like we use filter pane or the slicer where we use the filter for the whole data as a whole.
okay. Like, how do you create a DAX for, let's say, in the sales example that you were telling me, what would be the DAX formula for, let's say, profit?
Profit would be sales. We'll take the sales table, and in that, let's say there is a cost amount and a sales amount, and we'll subtract the cost from the sales amount, and we'll get the profit for
So,
each. That will be we'll be using a sum x formula so that it will be calculating for each row. For each row, the cost amount will be subtracted from the sales amount, and a profit will be
yeah. So, can I
calculated.
say like such complex calculations can only be done through DAX and not through normal aggregation functions?
Ah, yes, true.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Can you also tell me like what exactly is hierarchy in Power BI and how do you create a custom hierarchy and what are its use cases?
Hierarchy is, for example, if we have a date table, I mean date column, and we want a hierarchy like year, month, year, quarter, month, day, then we can either do it custom, or we can do it. We can the Power BI uh, by itself identifies such hierarchy as well. But sometimes we want to make custom hierarchy, like maybe category, subcategory, product, etc. In that case, we'll go to the data list, and we'll right click on the particular table, and we'll create hierarchy. And whatever columns that we want to add to that hierarchy, we'll again go right click on it and add to hierarchy, and select the particular hierarchy that we just created.
So, what do you think is the best visualization to represent hierarchical data, like categories, subcategories, and then you have super categories, etc. Right? What do you think is the best visualization to, put out some insights into data, for hierarchy?
I think metrics would be the best visualization for hierarchical data, because it allows us to expand and contract the hierarchies.
Yeah. Perfect. So, like you are saying, date. Basically, date is a field where Power BI by default, takes in the hierarchy: date, quarter, year, month, week, day of the week, etc. Right? Is there any other example which where you can set a default hierarchy by just giving the date proper data type?
Um, Maybe numbers, numerical datas are a very good example, and I think gender can be done.
No, I'm just talking. So, for example, you have a column of date, and you
Mhm.
just change it to date type of date. Then
Mhm.
Power BI by default gives you that aggregations, right? Like there could be hierarchy of year, month, etc. Is there any other data type in Power BI wherein if you give it a proper data type, it by default takes in the rest of the columns?
I'm sorry, I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so region is one of the other thing. Like if you give it a place or a city name, it by default ties it back to the geographical location and gives various hierarchy like maybe city, district, and then state, country, etc., etc. So that you can go and create, the map view or like any other view.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So, can you explain me what are the different ways of uploading data into Power BI, or what all does Power BI support in general?
We can use the get data function in the Power BI to get data from Excel, CSV files, or text documents. And we can even use direct query to get the data from SQL databases. And we can use URLs to get data from web pages. Yeah, that's the major data sources that we generally use in Power BI.
Can you give me some examples of what all databases can does Power BI support?
Databases as in, I'm sorry, I didn't get, can you elaborate on the question?
CSV Excel is kind of a some data present in your system, right? But
Mhm.
you can also write a query and get the data, right? So what all to write a query, you have to first connect your database to Power BI. Can you
Mhm.
give some databases with which you can connect your Power BI to?
You mean like SQL?
Yeah.
We can connect SQL, MySQL databases, or even SQL servers like Oracle or something like that. And I think we can even use JavaScript data to run in Power BI.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So, what is a direct query? Since you were talking about, direct queries and all.
Direct query is used to make real-time adjustments to the data. Like without going to the data source, we can directly make the changes in Power BI itself, and it will be reflected in the data source also. For example, if we want to make add a row or add a column, and we can use the direct query option in the Power BI, and it will be changed in a real time basis in the data source and in the Power BI data as well.
Okay. How do you create a calculated table, or what exactly is a calculated table in Power BI?
Calculated table is something that we add to the data that is not in the initial data, but we add to it. Like, for example, like in the sales data, if we want a column called profit, and I want to, it is a calculated data, right? I have to provide a formula, and according to that formula, the column will be created. And that formula will be that sales data minus cost.
But that's a calculated column, right? I'm more asking about a table. Like, how do you create a calculated table, and what exactly does a calculated table mean?
um, Calculated table, like calculated table is where we apply some formula to create a separate table from what is not initially there in our data set. it will have the data according to the formula that we have given to the system.
Can you give me an example with the sales data that we were talking about?
Mm, Sales data. Okay. So we want the sales of a particular day, like for today's sales. Then I'll add a calculated table, and in the calculated table I'll apply a filter where in the DAX formula I'll apply a filter for taking the sales only of
Okay.
today's date, so that even if I come back tomorrow, the calculated table will have data only of that particular day's
So is
sales.
it by adding a filter, or like how do you give it a logic of today? So basically every day I just want today's data, right? So
Mhm.
if you put a filter manually, then for the filter will stick for that particular day, right? But what if I want that to be dynamic? Like every day I come back and that table should reflect that particular day's data. So how do you create a calculated table for that particular use case?
I can use a DAX function where I use the function called today. Today is a function that will give the date, give the current date. Whether
Okay.
it's whether I come back today or tomorrow, it will always give the current date.
Perfect. So yeah, these are some of the theoretical questions that I had in mind for an overview of Power BI. What exactly different functions or different important functions of Power BI can do, and what how important a DAX is, because we'll be working with huge data, and we'll need to use a lot of DAX formulas to calculate different overviews or calculated fields and all. Now let's go ahead with a few of data based visualizations, etc. So Mahira have shared a data set on your email, which is a sample sales data. Maybe can you just download that and share your screen on Power BI for the next set of questions?
Yeah, sure. Give me a moment, please.
Yeah.
I am presenting my screen
Sure.
now. I'm presenting my screen. Let me know when it's visible. Is my screen visible?
Yes. Can you show us how exactly do you import this data set into Power BI?
Yes, sure. Just give me a moment. I'm just opening my Power BI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can use this get data function. And from here, I will, since it is an Excel sheet, I'm going to, oh, I think it's a CSV.
Yeah.
So I click on the CSV option. I'll go to the folder where I have the data. I'll select the data and click on open. Now I have the data. Since it's a comma separated data, I can just give the delimiter as comma, and I can click on load.
Okay. So, how do you clean data, or like what kind of transformations can you do? Can you just show us a brief of that as well?
Yeah, sure. I'll go to the Power Query editor. For that, I'll go to transform data and click on the transform data option. And here I'll be able to make any changes if necessary. Uh, just checking for duplicates.
How do you remove duplicates?
To remove duplicates, I can select the column and go to transform. Oh, one second.
Or like how do you even check if there are any duplicates or not?
Uh, yeah, I can select the column that I want to remove duplicates from, and I'll go to this remove columns, remove rows, and click on the remove duplicates option.
So is this duplicated column specific, since you're saying, you want to just select that particular column? How does it work? Remove duplicates.
It will see if there are any duplicates in that particular column. Uh, and if there are duplicates, then it will remove the duplicates.
Is it just for that column or like the whole row? How does it remove?
Uh, as per my understanding, I think it looks for duplicate combinations of all the columns, and it will remove the duplicates. Like if, for example, in two rows we have the same data, then it will remove one of the rows.
Okay, so you're saying duplication is a function of rows and not columns, right? Like if there
Yeah.
are two similar rows, then it will just erase one particular row. Can you
Yes.
see if there are any duplicates and show us like how many rows are deleted or something?
Okay. I'm just undoing the
Sure.
remove duplicate step. So here, if I click on the order number and go to the remove duplicates option, it will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so maybe the data didn't have any duplicates.
Yeah.
Can you show me how to change, data type for few columns? Maybe you can just pick up one particular column if you seem fit for a change of data type. Can you show us how to do that?
Yeah, sure. Um, for example, okay, I'm just checking.
Okay.
Comment. Okay, let's try the first column. Here you can see the small icon where the data type is displayed. If you click on that icon, you can change the data type by just selecting the data type that you want from this particular list. For example, if I want to change this from number to, let's say, text, I can do that by just clicking the text data type.
What is this? So on order date, there is an ABC, right? What is that data type? And do you should we change it to something else?
Yes, this order date shows us the date and I'm guessing the time as well. So we can change it into date time data type.
Why
Mm,
are there some errors?
Let me just okay, just remove the step. Yeah. The errors are because of the uh, data format. If I remove this change type, you can see that the data in the first row has 2/24/2003. And here the Power BI has recognized the second column as the month column,
Okay.
month data. So we don't have a 24th month, right? So that is why we are getting the error. Here, if we
How do
want.
you solve for that error? For example, if I want to recognize this order date as a date column for different further use cases, how do you solve that issue? Because CSV generally has such issues, right? Wherein date format is incorrect or comma separated is not properly parsed. So, how do you solve for this issue?
For this particular data, I think we have to dissect it into day, year, I mean, date, month, and year. And then we can identify the date accordingly,
Okay.
if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, okay, cool. That works. So now that we have imported the data, did some basic, cleaning and everything, can you show us how do you create a visualization? Maybe, maybe let's say monthly sales or something. Can you just create a basic visualization for us? Maybe a line chart, maybe.
Yeah, sure. First, I'm going to close and apply this changes that we made. Yeah. Once that is done, I will go to the visualization pane and I'll create a line chart. And in this line chart, I will. Um, I'm sorry, the visualization for monthly sales.
Yeah, or a daily level sales. I just want to understand, like, how my sales are progressing at an overall level.
Okay, sure. Okay. I'll add order date to the x-axis and
What
sales.
kind of chart are you choosing here?
I've chosen a line chart.
Okay.
Yeah. Here you can see that sales have dropped throughout the time, and
Okay.
we can see
Is
the trend
the date properly sorted? Because I see it, there are 11th month in between and then 5th, etc.
of. Yeah. I think we have to transform the data first because the order date table, I mean, order date is not in the correct format.
Okay. Can you just show me how to just like get the date or the day of the month from that? Because it's showing an error, right? Like you said, you have to dissect it into date, month, and the year to get the proper date. How do you do it?
Okay, so first let's add a column. Uh,
Okay.
order date. This I'll the date, uh, days in month, the order date. Oops.
What does days in month give?
The it will give the day in the month. For example, 1, 2, 3 of the month, the
Or
date.
is it day? But our order date is not in the correct format of date, right? So it may not give you that particular thing unless your overall order date is actually in a date format. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we can extract the first digits from the table. We know that everything previous to this first hash is the date.
Yeah.
So we'll take from left. Um, is there a formula to take from left?
Maybe can you use some other function to understand where that slash is, like maybe find or something?
Um, find, find. But I'm not sure if we have a find function in Power BI.
Yeah, just try to. Okay.
No, I don't think there is a find function in Power BI.
Okay. Just try to use it. Is equal
Okay.
to find, just like how we have it in Excel.
Yeah, let me try. Find. Um, and this is the formula. But I think it's showing me an error.
Okay, I understood all. So basically, you're trying to find it and take out all the characters that are on the left of that find and give it date column, right? Okay, got it. Yeah. So I understood. So from here, you'll be getting a line graph. Can you just show me the line graph again? Huh.
Yeah.
This would be your overall sales and etc. So now I want to know more about which segment is doing the best. Which product segment is doing the best. Can you tell me which appropriate graph do you use to understand how much is the contribution of each of the segment with respect to sales?
I think we can use a bar graph for it
Okay.
or a column chart.
Okay.
And in here, you want according to the segment.
Yes. Product segment.
Let me just go to the table and let me understand which column shows me the product. Okay. So, according to the product line.
Yeah, that works. Or do
Okay.
you think there are any other columns which gives me some segmentations into product?
Um, yeah, I think product line would be the closest to a product segment in this data set, or
Okay.
else we should go for city, country, or territory.
No, no, no. I just want to know more on the product side of it. So maybe a product line.
Yeah, product line will go in the x-axis, and sales amount will go in the y-axis, and that gives you a visualization on which is the biggest and which is the smallest and the middle of it. So we know that classic cars are the highest selling product line, and trains are the lowest selling
Uh,
product.
do you think there would be say, any other charts which gives me appropriate numbers into how much each of the segment contributes to overall? Like here, if I want to compare trains to classic cars, I'm not able to make it. Like maybe that's how much 0.8 million versus this is like 0.1 million or something.
I think I can use a pie chart or a donut chart for that.
Okay.
Uh, if I use a pie chart, now you can see according to percentage. Now we know that classic cars are contributing 61.25 percentage of the total sales, and the last one, the train, are contributing less than uh,
Okay.
0.39%.
Okay. Understood. Yeah. So, Mahira, you were talking about predictions, data predictions, and how different kind of predictive analysis can be used in Power BI as well. So now that you have the sales data, and let's assume that the order date is correct, how do you predict, or how do you use Power BI to predict your upcoming sales?
You select the line chart or the chart that you have, and you go to this further analysis icon here, and there should be a forecast option. I think since the order date not proper, I'm not seeing the forecast option. Ideally there should be a forecast option here, which allows us to make the forecast according to our desired confidence level.
And why do you think we are not getting this option here?
I'm guessing it's because the order date is not in the correct format.
Okay. Okay. So, like, how do you get the accuracy of that forecast? Is there any way to understand, like, what exactly does it give? Does it give, set of, what exactly does the forecast option give?
Forecast works on the previous data and understands the trends and gives us a forecast on how the future would be like. It might not be 100% right, but there could be a fluctuation of maybe 20 to 30%, and we can set a confidence level of how much ever we want. For example, if we say I'm 95% sure that this trend is how it's going to be in the future as well, then I can set my confidence level to 95%, and the forecast function in Power BI will calculate the trend as accordingly.
Okay. Understood. So this is more or less I wanted to understand when sales, simple sales analysis for a company. I've also shared you another set of data set on your email to understand more on the financials of a company. How do we solve for financial analysis, etc. Can you download that and maybe let's answer a few set of other questions.
Yeah, sure.
Uh,
Just refresh. Yeah. Okay. Let's create a new dashboard. I'll um, I'll get the data from the data source.
Actually, I sent an link. Can you show me how do I take it without uploading the CSV? Maybe from the URL or something.
Yeah, sure. Uh, I can use the URL function to get data. Web. I can use the web option.
Okay.
I can copy this URL and paste it here. Click on OK. Yes. Now I can select the tables that I want. Okay, this is not the page that we want. Let me just cancel and load again. Getting the sign in
Can you make
page.
it see the text part?
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
Okay. I'm just I'm just trying to understand the different tables.
Give me a moment, please. Yeah. I think it is picking up the sign-in page instead of the
Okay, can you
uh,
just go through that Excel road by downloading it? That's okay.
uh, the Excel workbook that I've just downloaded. Yeah. So this is the data that we want. I'm just looking at what is okay. So both are the same data, but this is the sheet view and this is just the table. So I'm just going to select the financials table and gonna load it. Yes.
Can you create some, metrics like maybe profit? I don't see any such things here. Can you show us how to create profit or gross margin, etc., like calculated fields?
Um, a column or a measure.
Uh, just a column, calculated column.
I think we already have a profit column.
Okay, then that's fine. Do you think there is any other column which you need, which is not present in the data, or can you show an example of how to create a calculated column?
Okay, maybe we can create a profit percentage column.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm, custom column. Profit by sales.
Um, isn't sales the number of sales that happen?
I think it's the sales amount because I can say gross sales as well
Okay.
and sales, and then there is cost of goods sold.
Okay.
So this must be the sales amount.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. So we have a profit percentage column where we show the percentage of profit over the sales.
Okay. Um, that's fine. This is perfect. So maybe can we get into visualizations? And I actually can we create a graph of monthly revenue or a weekly revenue?
Yeah, sure. Um, monthly revenue. Okay, so since it's a time chart, I mean a trend chart, I'll be using line chart. I'll give the, I'll give sales in by revenue. Do you mean profit or the total
Like a
sales?
sales amount.
Okay. Okay. I'm just going to the table view to understand which is the there is a date column. Okay. The profit. column would be in the x-axis, and sum of sales, monthly data. Yeah,
Okay.
this would be the
Um,
monthly.
can you see if the forecast can be used here to get upcoming month's sales?
Yeah. Here we'll go to the further analysis icon, and here you can see the forecast option. I will turn it on, and here I'll give the unit as months, and forecast length as in how many months do I want to forecast. I'll say 12 months. Seasonality will put it as 12, and I have a confidence level of 95%. Then I'll click on apply, and it has forecasted the data for the next 12 months.
So what is seasonality here?
Seasonality is wait. Yeah, seasonality is like how many data points are to be created according to the forecast length.
Okay. Is that just different? But then that's forecast length, right? So what's the difference between forecast length and seasonality?
Um, Seasonality, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So basically, seasonality is telling Power BI like what exact seasonality would be present. So this is yearly sales, right? So
Mhm.
Jan this year and versus last year will have some link towards it. Maybe suddenly summer sales would be higher. Every summer it would be the same case. So you're kind of telling Power BI that this summer versus last summer might behave similarly. So since 1 year is 12 months, you are saying my seasonality is 12. So that my cycle repeats similarly after every 12 line or 12 points. So
Oh,
since it's a yearly data, you give that seasonality. And forecast length is basically how many next seasons do you want to forecast. So here you said I want forecast for the next 12 months. And 1 year is 12 points is my seasonality. So that's how you get the whole data.
okay. So for example, for the January data of 2015, it will refer to the January data of the previous years.
I mean, it just takes last Jan into consideration when doing the forecast. For example, here instead of monthly sales, you had a quarterly sales. Then your seasonality would have become, four,
Four.
because there
Yeah.
are 4 quarters, and the cycle might repeat after every 4 cycles.
Okay, understood. Yeah. Thank you.
Um, So can we like deep dive into the data and see if there are any categories or different kind of things? I basically want to understand how this company's financial performance is. Like I can see yearly trend, like maybe last quarter it's doing a bit better than the rest of the quarters. Can you give me more insights into the data, like maybe deep dive into some other aspects of company's financials?
Yeah, sure. Let me just take a look at the data
Yeah.
for a minute. Mm, yeah, sure. I think we can do a product wise sales data, or even country wise sales. Okay, okay, wait 1 second. Just, so there are like less than 10 products, so we can maybe use a pie chart to visualize what is the sales percentage, I mean sales contribution of each product.
Okay.
Yeah, here, uh, yeah, here you can see the percentage of each product that is contributing to the total sales. And
Okay.
then I can maybe use a map to mm, yeah, I can use a field map to understand the contribution of each country to the total sales, like to understand where is my sales coming from. Here you can evidently see that I have sales from Europe, North America.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Can
that.
you tell me like which country or which place the company is putting in a lot of discounts to get more sales?
Yes, I can use the discount band to, yeah, I can use a discount band column to identify where I have used the largest discount. Here you can see the discount band is high, low, medium, and none. And in North America and Europe, we have used high discount band.
Okay. Is there any other financial aspects like I can see COGS, etc., etc.? But is there what exactly is segment? I see there is a column segment as well in the data.
Segment. Well, let me just look at it. Okay. Segment. Okay. Segment
Can you
ID.
tell me which segment is contributing to the highest profits for this company?
Yeah. I'm just going to remove this map.
Okay.
I'll add a column chart and add a segment in the x-axis and sales. Right. You wanted to know the sales contribution, right? I think this would visualize the highest sales and lowest, or we can even use a funnel to know which is the highest and
Okay.
coming down to the lowest.
Yeah. So yeah, Mahira, this is what I wanted to understand from you. Like, how much in depth do you understand about, Power BI? So these are some of the functionalities that are generally asked in each of the interviews. Like, how do we use different functions like DAX formulas or different visualizations, and what exactly are filters? What kind of data manipulations do we do? So, thanks for the session. You have given us a very brief into each of the questions that's been asked. So, guys, this is the end of the session for today. And many interviewers ask similar questions in understanding more about Power BI, or like there are other things like Tableau, Superset, etc. More or less, all visualization tools are similar. Each of them have their unique way of connecting to the data. Like in Power BI, you can connect it to a lot of live data like Snowflake or Hive database or SQL workbenches, etc. And like we saw, you can also connect it with static tables like Excel, or you can connect it with spreadsheets, etc. And you can always send it back to Power BI web and share it with all your stakeholders, etc., for visualizations, and give insights into what a company is performing, or how your sales are being done on a daily basis. And you can also predict your upcoming sales by giving it few of the things like seasonality, or if you want to ignore the latest month, etc., etc. So yeah, this is like end of the session. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Bhavana.
Yeah, thank you.
Anjali, you are on mute.
Thank you so much, Bhavna and Mahira. A big thank you to Bhavna for your expertise and Mahira for participating, so actively. So to all our viewers as well, I hope this session, gave you some fresh perspective and valuable tips how to prepare for your interviews. So if you found this helpful, do like, share, and subscribe for more sessions like this. So we'll quickly just take up a few questions that the viewers were having, on the chat. So we had a student with us who was asking that how can like I shift from banking sector. So it's Swapnil. He asked that I am currently working in a banking sector from last 3 years, and I want to switch my career in data analyst profile. So can you please guide me? So Bhavna, if you could, please share your insight to the particular question.
Yeah, so many people have this question on data analytics. Data analytics is a field which doesn't need like a lot of background. Like you don't have to study data analytics in your bachelor's or master's. So you can always shift to some platform which gives you an overall view, like Newton School, wherein you'll be taken through different aspects of data analytics and data science, where you'll be learning, Excel or basic advanced mathematics, because mathematics is really important in the whole analytics field. And they also teach you, like the session on Power BI. You can go through the tool, understand how to create visualizations, etc. Then you'll also be learning SQL, Python for modeling, etc. So yeah, always welcome to Newton School to shift your career or to start your career into data science and analytics.
Thank you, Bhavna. So, just to add on to what she said, so anybody who's looking forward to switching their career in data science or how to transition in the same, you can just check out the link in the description box. Our counselors will be connecting with you and giving you all the necessary information regarding the same. So, we have one more question from Pradyuman who's asking Power BI or Tableau, which is better to get into the data science industry? Which one to focus upon more, and how can he focus upon the same?
So yeah, like I said, there are many visualization tools, not just Power BI or Tableau. We have many other big players in the industry. More or less, all visualization tools are great. Like I have worked with multiple. Like I have worked with Tableau in my previous companies. Now I work on Power BI. They can both handle huge data sets, like live data sets as well, and many of the functionalities in both of them are similar, so there is nothing like which is good or which is bad. It just which tech stack works better with your company guidelines and all. Both are equally same and equally great.
Great. So I think these were the few main questions that we had. Apart from that, students were also asking about some practical questions upon how to, solve the data set, for which you can definitely check out the live again to, clarify any of your queries. So, guys, if you found this helpful, do like, share, and subscribe for more sessions like this. And if you have any questions, feedback, please drop them in the comment section. If data science is your passion as well, don't forget to check out the link in the description box. We'll be back with more such real world interviews, case studies in the next live. Until then, take care and keep learning. So, thank you so much, Bhavna. Thank you so much, Myra, for
Thank you
giving your time.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a
Good
nice
night.
day. Bye.
Yeah.